Welcome to a brand new podcast, and this is the Oracle 19, and my name is Greatness. You can shop online to our baby shopping mall, which is www.evolutionoflondon.com, where we have a whole wide range of different products as men's, kids, ladies' clothes, cologne, perfume, house products, jewelry, and much, much more. So that's www.evolutionoflondon.com. Also, evolutionoflondon.org, O-R-G. There you'll find custom clothes, accessories, digital products for business as well as personal use. So that's www.evolutionoflondon.org, O-R-G. And finally, evolutionoflondon.store, S-T-O-R-E. There you'll find lotions, soaps, DVDs, games, and much more clothing. So that's www.evolutionoflondon.store. We have different links to other affiliates. That's www.linktree.com/evolutionoflondon. There you'll find different links to other affiliates, so definitely support that. And we have a Patreon channel, www.patreon.com/evolutionoflondon. There you'll find videos that's not posted on YouTube. And we have digital artwork, and we do consulting services as well. Rumble.com. You go to rumble.com and type in the Oracle 19. You'll see different shows, and as we expand in there, we added more shows there. So definitely follow, subscribe to our channel or our platform on Rumble, rumble.com. And again, you type in the Oracle 19. For any business inquiries, you can email us at evolutionoflondon@gmail.com. So if you want to put your business on this platform, just email us and we can set that up for you. And that's the same email if you want to make a free will offering and definitely a donation to us. Whether it's $1, $2, $3, $4, you just show your love and support as we expand worldwide. That's evolutionoflondon@gmail.com. Check out the company Royalty 9 International. They make homemade candles, luxury candles, 12-ounce jars, 100% soy wax. Now, from scented to unscented candles is made. Now, the scented candles is from frankincense, myrrh, jasmine, eucalyptus, peppermint, vanilla, rose, just to name a few. So if you want to place an order, you can just email them at royalty9international@gmail.com or check out their website, www.royalty9international.com. Again, royalty9international@gmail.com if you want to place an order. And they're on social media, TikTok and Instagram. Royalty 9 International. So like, subscribe, and share there as well. Mr. Will, he's been a fitness consultant for over 15 years. So if you want to book a consultation, you email him at healthfitness99@gmail.com. Again, that's healthfitnessconsultant1@gmail.com. That's healthfitnessconsultant1@gmail.com. So if you want to email him, you can email him there. And also support his merchandise. It's www.wjaaccessories.com. Again, that's www.wjaaccessories.com for custom clothes, accessories, and digital products as well. DJ Panthro, he's an international DJ, so if you want to book for him to come to your venue, you email him at djpanthro519@gmail.com. Again, that's DJ Panthro, PANTHRO 519@gmail.com. So send him an email. You can set up for him to come to your venue worldwide. You can also find him on social media, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, DJ Panthro 519. And also as a bonus on TikTok, also the real DJ Panthro. That's his second platform on TikTok. So that's DA real REAL DJ Panthro. So definitely support his platforms. Music. Cheap Limousine channel on YouTube. They have a whole wide range of different beats. So definitely like, subscribe, and share to Cheap Limousine channel on YouTube. And once you go to his page on YouTube, you'll see other social media sites. So definitely support his brand. And continuing to train on YouTube, the Greatness 19 channel. We have over 550 videos / shows to open up your third eye. So definitely like, subscribe, and share to the Greatness 19 channel. And I need y'all guys to continue passing the information worldwide, putting it on your platforms, social media, because there's a lot of great content there that definitely, some of it, might be triggering, but again, it's something that is very informative. So I definitely like, subscribe, and share to the Greatness 19 channel. Also, I need you to like, subscribe, and share to Mr. Evolution of London. That's our health and wellness channel. So like, subscribe, and share. A lot of different videos on health and wellness, so definitely support that as well. TutorsForYou.org. Tutors for You, providing online tutoring for $5 and $5 an hour to children and adults. Their telephone number is 813-743-3273. Real professionals on your behalf. That is TutorsForYou.org, a non-profit organization. Cindy's Place. Cindy's Place, you can find custom clothes and accessories. Their website is www.cindysplace.org. So definitely check that out and support their cause. They have a lot of different products on that definitely you will like. So check them out and place your order for Cindy's Place. Now the Oracle 19 is on all major platforms. We're on iHeartRadio, Anchor, Google, Apple, Amazon Music, Spotify for podcasters, just to name a few. So any information I haven't mentioned will be in the description box of the Oracle 19 podcast, the Greatness 19 channel, as well as Mr. Evolution of London. Those two platforms is on YouTube, and you can check information in the description boxes. Rumble.com. You find information in the description box once you type in the Oracle 19. And finally, www.oracle19radio.com. All right, excuse me. All right, well, today, as always, I always give my perspective of different topics, and definitely this one, it will be triggering as usual. Today we're going to talk about racial IQ. Racial IQ. And what do I mean? Now, usually, as I always mention, I always go through social media, and you have these suspected white supremacists with their talking points. And I briefly talk about racism worldwide and throughout North America. One of my last shows, Racism is a Reality, you definitely check that out. And this kind of tie into it as well. But again, it's a gentleman I see on social media that I tapped into a particular show, and I noticed he is bringing up racial IQ. A lot of these suspected white supremacists like to talk about the racial IQ of black people is low. You know, like I told you, in reality, white people and other races feel that black people is basically at the bottom of the barrel. And being in this day and time, the Industrial Revolution, which happened in the early 1900s, where they needed black labor, they don't need that as much today, because with AI technology and computer technology is advancing, you don't need workers like you used to, especially black workers. But it's always rated that black people is low IQ. They always talk about cities. They always focus on places like Chicago, south side of Chicago, by the way, and how the people, black people there and the other cities, is such degenerates, and we are basically the worst of worst. And let's be for real, suspected white supremacists feel that white people are superior and the smartest, basically on the planet Earth. Well, they usually would give credit to the Asians as being number one in terms of intelligence, and then definitely follow them. White people second, a strong second, and then let's say Indians and other races, sub-races in between, and finally the black man is last. And of course, the black woman is smarter than the black man, and that's really the pecking order. And then they give the stats where, statistically, the schools in the neighborhoods, in the impoverished neighborhoods, black people have the lowest IQ. We don't do well with the exams, and we just the worst of worst. That's what's put out there, indirectly and directly. And I was listening to this suspected white supremacist talking all these talking points. Unfortunately, the people there, black people there, didn't have enough ammunition to dispute with him. And this is why I say with black folks particularly, it's very important to read and know your history from the past leading to now. Because when these suspected white supremacists start, they will throw the racial IQ and give you these false type of statistics. And what I mean by false is they will base this out of certain narratives, certain structures within the black community. What do I mean by that? See, and then, all right, let me slow it down because this is going to be long. I think this show is going to be long. They will say, because of the educational system that is put here in society, it was created by a white system. It was created not for the advantages of black people. Now, we still have to flow into this society, no question. But I'm going to have to go back in time to bring it forward for your understanding. Now, I find it, again, I'm going to be very thorough and we're going to walk this slow. But again, I have to start from the past, and I know you're going to say, oh boy, the past. But when I give you the past and bring it forward, it will be more clear in terms of what do I mean. Racial IQ. We already established that white supremacists and other races in society base this on, or base that the black man is, and the black people is basically the dumbest, okay? And they will give all of these statistics. Now, my question for me to you, how did black people supposedly, based on this, the white information, the white stats, we have the lowest IQ currently because this white supremacist talk about our brains is different. So, and give all of these slick little talking points. But he did mention we very entertaining, we dance and sing, and great athletes, which is a talking point, always the case. And I mention this always, all the time, that we dance and sing, we great athletes, but dumb, basically. And then when you have black people that believe this narrative. Now, how did we reach? Like, we at an ultimate low now, because let's say genetically, because I know this guy was really hitting on genetics, trying to anyway. Now, let's say, let's use this. Now, black people throughout history. Okay, let's start with this. Where did civilization start? White people and other races. Now, it didn't start in Europe, okay? I think we could agree about it, even though you'll try to dodge that bullet. It started in Africa. Let's start with there. Let's be for real now. We're going to try to be for real now. And who was the original race of people first? If it started in Africa, and African and black people, they always say go back to Africa. So it's already established that black people, that civilization started on the black continent. But if they say black people is from Africa and history started in Africa, then original people must have been what color? Black. And with that being said, now if they was the original people, and there was kings and queens and pyramids, you could see in the hieroglyphics what color was the original man that built the hieroglyphics, the pyramids. Well, that created the hieroglyphics, which is a language, and built the pyramids. They show you on the walls of Egypt what color they was. See, I'm giving you a history lesson. I'm starting from the past, and we're going to bring it down to the present to debate about this racial IQ. So, if black people was the original people, you might not like it, but you can't debate that. Based on your own statistics, stats, archaeological findings, etc. A lot of times with white civilization, they don't want to admit to that. They'll say the Middle East. Middle East is not a continent. Where is that? What race of people stemmed from that? It wasn't Arabs. The original Arabs was black. Now, here's some genetics for you. Two black individuals can create multiple races. Multiple races. What do I mean? Can you get two white people creating a black baby? What's the probability with this? You could get two black people that, different shades of black, of course, that can create other races. Genetic defects. It's called albinos. Albinos. But my question for me to you, other races, is, did white people come from black people or black people came from white people? And if you saying black people came from white people, you a liar. Because if the African continent, and I would say you're delusional. If civilization started on the African continent, and that was black people, what that tells you, black people was first. Black people created civilizations. You can't deny that. See, white people, especially white supremacists, like to say, black people in Africa just basically was just monkeys and just living in huts. And that's it. And then they had to go to Africa and train up and civilize the black people. You had individuals like Mansa Musa, which was the wealthiest man on the planet Earth. But you had many kings and queens that dominated the African continent. And especially in Egypt. So you have pyramids not only in Egypt as well. You have pyramids in Sudan and Ethiopia. Same type of pyramids. Black people expanded even in Europe and China and built pyramids there in South America and Central America. Even in Americas, which they call mounds. M-O-U-N-D-S. Mounds. Baby pyramids for different purposes. So before the continental drift, there was one landmass. There was no Red Sea. So black people traveled. The Olmecs traveled back and forth to the Americas when it was one landmass and set up shop. Built mounds, pyramids. So this is a form of racial IQ, advanced knowledge, advanced technology, building pyramids, being astronomers, having a water system, electric system. And you can see it on the pyramids, on the walls. Electricity being produced. Advanced technology. This is the level of black people. Their racial IQ. You had the Moors, the blackamoors, or the Moors. Who were they that conquered Europe for approximately 800 years? What color were they? And if it wasn't for the Moors, they civilized the Europeans, white. They taught them how to bathe, how to eat, use a fork and a knife, how to wash themselves. Their education, they brought education, religion as well, Islam. Because the white people in Europe was uncivilized in the so-called Dark Ages. Dark Ages because it refers to dark people that was dominating Europe. And when you look at the history in Asia, their statues, their original statues, they have black statues there that the Asians worship. And clearly in Russia, they got black paintings showing you Moors was in Europe. You go to the museums to this day. Art, science, math that stem from black people that dominated Europe for centuries. They had to take a certain high IQ. So that was some of the past of black history. And you will say, oh, that's the past. Okay, so it trickles down. Let's say we trickle down all the way to the early 1900s. 1900s. You had black inventors. Here in North America, black Americans. That created all different types of things that you, white people and other races, need and use in your daily life. You had inventors such as Garrett Morgan, created and had patent in October 13th of 1914, the breathing device, which is used today. The traffic signal, which is the traffic light of today that cars, we all have to obey the traffic light to this day. So that had to take a certain high IQ. And you have, if you go and Google white people and other races, and black people, you should do too. Just type in a list of black inventors. And you will see a lot of black people, male and female, but mostly male black men that created everything, almost everything that you need in your daily life. Even the cell phone was created by a black man. I believe his last name was Solomon in 1972. But you could check on that. Or created the technology for the cell phone. Look that up. Because there's so many black inventors. So that's leading to now I'm jumping from the 1800s, 1900s, and even up to the 1970s. And when I use the invention of the cell phone, among other things, from technology to medicine. Black hands been all over North America and the world in terms of inventions and creations. That takes a certain high IQ, don't you think? Don't worry, I'm warming up. And to be technical, it was a lot of black Americans that was inventors here in North America. Again, that had to take a certain high IQ. Because all of these inventions and creations in medicine, science and math and so forth, Just go and Google the list of black inventors. See, that's the thing about it. When you read black man, black woman, when you start researching black man, black woman, white supremacists out here cannot defeat you mentally and tell you these talking points that, we have such a low IQ, we scum of the earth, and then other races believe that, because they throw those things out there, but if you don't know your history, then they got you. And then you have other black people that talks white supremacist talking points. So my question for me to you, how did you see, the thing about it, you cannot debate and say it never happened, because these black inventors patent all of this technology that white America hijacked it, paid them off, and then said they created it. Because Thomas Edison wasn't the one that created electricity. There's a black man that did it, that created it, and then Thomas Edison had him work for him, and then he took the rights and took the credit. Look that up. Forgot his name, I just tip of my tongue, but the beautiful thing is you can go and Google this information if I'm lying. And these is black Americans. So all you other different factions of black people worldwide that thinking, black Americans are lazy and this and that. We're going to get to that in a moment. So, and this is recent 19th century inventions that you need in your daily life to function. So it have to take a certain high IQ. But again, this is not going to be talked about. You're not going to, when it's time for Black History Month in February, they're not going to talk about this, the list. They're only going to say Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, and definitely Martin Luther King, and give you some hymns and singing and just say Martin Luther King. And that's all you're going to know. You're not going to know about the Garrett Morgans and the list goes on. And I even give you another one. W.B. Purvis. He created the hand stamp, the fountain pen, the electric railway. See, and I just gave you two. There's hundreds, thousands of black Americans all over North America that invented what you need today, from small to large. Science, math, they contribute to all of that. Technology, things that you need everyday life, was invented, created, and used today. And you even have black inventors today. There was one gentleman in Michigan that was creating water with his machine, was extracting hydrogen or oxygen from the air and creating water. But all of a sudden, he was, the powers that be put a monkey wrench on that. Look that up. And that's in your 20th century. But that's one of many things. That takes a certain high IQ, don't you think? See, so that I gave you the past and leading on to today. Now, here's the thing in terms of white people, I should say, suspected white supremacists talking points. They say, you know, the educational system in the hoods and as black people is, you know, doing bad and so forth, so on. Most black people is working class black people. Because let's go with the South, Southern black folks today. Most of them have homes. Most of them have cars. Most of them are working. How can I say this? Because in the South, it's not like the cities where you have trains and you can hop on the train and travel. You need a car. It's not like in the South, yes, it's affordable housing, but overall, black people in the South have homes, own homes, because they have to. It's not like in the big cities where they could be in projects. So black people are productive in the South, in the Midwest. And most black people, you find them in the South and the Midwest. Correct me if I'm wrong. But again, here I'm going to say, I'm going to take it back a little bit and I'm going to go 2 steps forward with you. Laziness. We rate it as being lazy. Most black people. That's how we rate it. Now, here's the thing about what I call genetic engineering. Genetic engineering. See, whether you believe in the story, the Willie Lynch story or not, some people say it's fabricated, others say it's not. But the Willie Lynch story has truth in it. What do I mean? This story basically just shows how black people was buck broken, black men particularly, from slavery. Now here's the thing, I use genetic engineering. See, a lot of people overlook genetics and the effects it can have on people, generation after generation. See, for example, if you are a slave, black man, black woman in slavery, and we know the history of slavery. We know how black men was being buck broken. And what I mean by that, you know, they was basically beaten up, raped, abused, and so was the woman. We was told not to read. We cannot read. It was illegal. They gave us a white Bible, which they, even though it was the King James Version, but what do I mean by the white Bible? They basically gave us the information, the talking points that we should follow, and twisted within the Bible, and made it seem like that we are the savages and we need them. And they used the scriptures and twisted the scriptures around for their own talking points. And we couldn't dispute that. If we tried, we could be beaten up and hung. Now you had a few black men like Nat Turner that basically was a rebel, and other black men that formed alliances and went against the white man system at that time. And of course, they was killed and so forth. But backtracking with genetic engineering. See, when you beat the slave and tell him not to read, he's gonna develop fear. It's like a dog. He's gonna still develop fear of that so-called master. So that is embedded in him, and then when he procreates, genetically that transfers. Now that might be over your pay rate of understanding. See, not only you achieve the physical characteristics of your parents, it's not only a physical, but it's also a psychological, such as trauma being passed down, and also education if you lacking of it. So genetic engineering is passed down. It's called trauma. That you second-class citizen because you've been indoctrinated with by systematic white supremacy of being less than who you are. You're being put down as subhuman. And if your woman seeing her man getting buck broken, she, in her mind, she's not going to have the same respect for that man, her man. Because she's seen one thing a woman don't want to see of any race, their own man being defeated by another man. And because he is rated supposedly in her eyes as being strong and being able to protect her. And if her man from her own race cannot protect her, she loses respect. That's just the natural order of life, because the woman naturally is looking up to her man for strength and protection. And if she see her man getting whipped and buck broken, raped and assaulted and everything, that say everything. That is trickled down from generation to generation. That's trauma. Trauma on the black man's side, trauma on the white man's side. I'm going to get to my point. Just walk with me. I have to give you this information for the past and bring it to the present. And this intertwines with what I call genetic engineering. The Willie Lynch papers. You ever go and Google the Willie Lynch papers? It'll tell you a story. But that story, people say it's not true, but that story is live and kicking and happens. It have happened. Especially if you're a black American with Southern roots and it's passed down, you know the stories. I know the stories personally, passed down from generation to generation. And most black Americans, if they dig deep to their Southern roots, and the elders pass the stories of what black people have had to go through currently. So that's genetic engineering that the white supremacists did to dumb down the intelligence of the black man and black woman. So the black man and black woman leading today is always have to work hard just to have some type of respectability in life. And let's be for real. So white man, the way he functions, the suspected white supremacists, they move in a certain way. They implement certain things. Look, the laws leading all the way up to the 60s, from Jim Crow to the Civil Rights Act, even before in the Constitution, you was rated as 1/3 at 3/5 of a man. Basically, regardless of the percentages, you are rated in the Constitution as beneath the white man to this day, because that wasn't eradicated, that law from the Constitution. That still is there. Now they added different laws to somewhat amend that Constitution verbiage, but that's still in the Constitution, that you 3/5 of a man. It never changed. They just added on. But so black people always have to work harder just to make it. And with the system of white supremacy, let's be for real, they make sure in the so-called impoverished neighborhoods, the ghettos of black society, you don't have the better quality of foods, the better quality of education. Why would they? Because they figure you live in the hood, you savage anyway, so you get what you get. The educational system is much different than the educational system in the suburbs, as well as the food and just the environment in general. Now, again, something that Chris Rock said in the 90s in his comedy skit: white people, the sky's the limit. Black people, the limit is the sky. What do I mean? Yes, you can and should, as a black person, do the best you can. And most black people is just working class. Not, you say all is just basically lazy. Most black people is working. I mean, you going to your neighborhoods and you see black people going to work. Most black people go to work. They just not wealthy, but they working class people. But what society, systematic white supremacy use the talking point, they always base Chicago. And white and black people is such low frequency individuals. Basically dumb. No education or lazy. And I might be going back and forth, but I have to just to give you these talking points. I hope I'm clear. I can add on more, but I'm trying to shorten this up because I can speak on this for at least 3 hours. Now, if you're talking about low-level racial IQ, you go in the Midwest and you deal with those white trash in the deep South. Most white people is some real low-level bottom feeder trailer trash scumbags with no teeth and having sex with their brother and sister and eating roadkill. You go in the mountains of North Carolina. I've been around in the Midwest and the South. You go in the mountains of North Carolina, Boone, North Carolina. You go throughout the Midwest and you see how white people are and how intelligent they are, how backwards they are. Hillbillies. I remember a wrestler even said this, Scott Steiner, when he was talking about white trash from one of his skits, the white trash from the US of A. Something terrible, dumb as hell, ignorant as hell, backwards as hell, to this day. And that's made up of most white Americans. They on welfare because the notion is most black people is on welfare. Well, what about white people that live in Arkansas, Oregon, Nebraska, Montana, Kansas, North Dakota, South Dakota, New Mexico, Kentucky, Mississippi, South Carolina. Those white people out there are backwards to the T. Savages. But this is not talked about. I guess they have higher IQ, right? And they on welfare. Most people on welfare in the United States are white. In the Midwest and the South, they are poor. But they have high racial IQ, right? See, so the talking points is very jaded. And then you have black people coming from different parts of the world, from Africa and the Caribbean islands, that say, oh, well, you know, black Americans is lazy and this and that. Well, look, I'm going to check you, black people from different parts of the planet Earth. If it wasn't black Americans that had to put their foot on the ground and made it happen and had to go through the beatings and change and marching and changing up laws, you wouldn't be able to come into this country and reap the benefits and talk your slick points. So don't forget who made it possible for you. Thank you. Because believe me, a lot of so-called black immigrants that come into this country, they don't get it neither. It's not like all of them come here, work hard, and be rich. A lot of them is just average. Some make it, but not all that come here, work hard, and they become somebody, something wealthy. They just become average people. So check yourself. Other factions of black people. Check yourself. Know your history. Know when you come here who made it possible. Because if it wasn't, again, I repeat, for the black Americans going through things, the white man don't like you neither. Would have kept you right where you be. In Jamaica or Trinidad or Haiti. You would have stayed right there. Because they didn't want your black behind here neither. They rather have their brethren from Ukraine come here quicker than have you. Remember that. So when you run around and say, oh, black Americans are lazy and stuff, you only talking about a certain amount. Most black Americans is just working. Now, they're not rich. They just working class. Because if you say all black Americans, literally, let's say you talk about your neighborhood hood. You don't see black Americans, you don't see them getting on the A train, the G train, going to work. You see the whole hood. So let me get this. Let's get this logic. All black Americans just sit down in the hood and just waiting for welfare and not doing anything. They all just sitting around doing nothing. And if you believe that, you're a jackass. But this is the mindset that systematic white supremacy, this is where it becomes systematic, is put out here systematically through media. Very slick, very covert. When you know your enemy, see the art of war, they don't have to come and club you over the head with a baseball bat. The talking points easily good, just very, very minute, very smooth. They'll show little things on TV. If you go on CNN, which CNN shows you is basically all over the world, what they show you when in New York City, if they get who is getting arrested, they show you a black man getting arrested, and then that goes all over the world. So they put that out there. They're not going to give you the black success. They'll give you more black misery than success. The misery is shown all over the world, so all races and sub-races immediately think, This is how black people are. And they indoctrinate these things over and over again systematically. You know, things is put out here so smoothly, as I mentioned. And it's put out here systematically to make you black man, black woman, especially a black American, feel low and dumb. Systematically, you in your neighborhoods, you're not given the same benefits as, let's say, as a white neighborhood. That's also factual. Now, does it mean that you should be lazy? Of course not. Most black men and women are not. They just working class people, and that's what it is. But when you put certain things systematically out in the news, in social media, in commercials, where black men and black women are in America are savages, and you can show these. See, if you was fair and balanced, if you showing the worst of black people in these neighborhoods, you should double up and show the accomplishments to balance it out. But let's be for real. On TV, you showing black men as being clowns and only thing dancing and singing. So of course other races feel that's all we know. And then you show in the black neighborhoods, the worst of worst, how the degenerates of the neighborhood act. You don't show the working class that's going to work and doing what they're supposed to do. We're talking about in the so-called hood. You don't show that on the regular. You're showing just the worst of the worst of black men and black women. So when other black tribes coming from different parts of the world, this is what they see and this is what they perceive. And when they see a black man that is productive, it's unbelievable. And that's put out there systematically. That you cannot deny. It's very covert. And this is what it is. And then you have other black people from different parts of the country swear that just this is all of black America. Now, how did we reach, and I gave you past situations, from being inventors and creators and having a high IQ to create this from the early 19th century leading to the 60s to the 70s, and all of a sudden we dropped. What were we in the 60s and 70s? How were we rated? Did we have low IQ being inventors and productive black people? And here's another thing. How, if we were so low frequency individuals, how did you have black communities that was thriving in the early 1900s and even in the 40s and the 50s? How did that work? You had Black Wall Street in Oklahoma. You had black communities, Seneca just break it down. In Central Park, in Seneca Village. In Central Park, you had a black community that was thriving. You had in Charlotte. You had in Georgia. You had black communities all over the United States, even in New York City. Or I mentioned Seneca Village. But you had black communities all throughout the United States that black people was doctors, lawyers, they owned banks, they was teachers, they was professionals in general. And it was all wiped away systematically. So it had to take a high IQ to develop a community to be professionals, be productive. But every time black people was trying to be productive, it was wiped away by systematic white supremacy. Check the history for all you white supremacists in other nations, and even including our own. Black Americans established communities all throughout the United States in the 1900s, leading to the 50s and 60s, recent times. But every time we develop something, it's always wiped away systematically. Check the history. You might not say, oh, but learn to read. If you read and research, you will find out I am right. See, but you too busy. You don't want to read. You just want to go with the talking points that the white supremacists put out in social media. So it had to take a high IQ to develop your own community and have professionals that was you had multimillionaires, more multimillionaires in the 1800s and 1900s with black Americans than you have now. Why? So it had to take a certain IQ to be productive, to make money. But this is not talked about. So how did black people fall from grace from all the way from the 1960s and the early 70s to now to have such a low IQ based on what these white supremacists say? That don't even sound right. That means we fell from grace real fast in the 40 years. And guess what? You have black inventors and professionals leading today. But again, when you're a black person, when you're a black person, the limit is the sky. Because it's put out there systematically like you're a savage. So you got to work extra hard to prove within white society that you belong. Because you're not going to be hired per se, and you got to go through a lot of channels. You want to be profiled. If you as a human being, let me backtrack. If you as a human being is always rated as a savage, who is going to want to deal with you? That's my question for me to you. If you rated as a savage, as a human being all the time, when you walk out your door, you rated as a savage, who is going to want to deal with you? What race of people want to deal with you if they always see you rated as a savage? So you wonder, so black people got to work harder to go through the pitfalls of life just to be functional, because you systematically rated as subhuman. And to this day, you rated as subhuman. And then white supremacists give these talking points like your brain is different and this and that. And let's go with that, this brain capacity thing, because that sounds like the movie Django. When I heard this white supremacist talk about the brain is this and that, you got a lot of white people that believe this. That, you know, your brain is different and you inferior. That's some Django movie type of crap. Tarzan and the Apes type of crap. But let's go a little more deeper with this talking point. So let me guess. In your biology book, you could take your basic general biology book. And in your book that you wrote and you created, you go to anyone, go to any general biology book, and it tells you about genetics. Darker eyes is more stronger and has more melanin than lighter eyes, blue eyes. They will admit that darker skin genetically is due to the fact it has more melanin, is more stronger, it can withstand the sun. This is from your own general biology and chemistry book and physics books when it talks about, especially genetics. Let's stick to genetics, biology. So if you white people can admit that darker skin is stronger and more prone to not get skin cancer than, let's say, lighter skin. And basically what you really want to say is black skin is stronger than white skin in terms of withstanding the sun's rays. Now you're going to give these talking boys, well, everybody needs suntan lotion, all of this other nonsense. We're not going to go there. We just specifically talking about genetics, and I'm talking about the skin and the eyes for a moment. So if you can admit that darker eyes, and basically what you want to say is the black people's eyes is much more stronger and prone to you not getting cancer, blah, blah, blah. So if you could give those physical traits and admit those physical traits is superior than yours, you know, black don't crack, you know, so our skin texture, you know, we last longer, meaning we're in terms of age, not age, but our skin is more stronger and we don't deteriorate as faster. And that shows even when you look at us. Some men and women is 50, they look like 30. So, and you hear this analogy, black don't crack. So you white people and other races could admit that the black skin texture, the physical traits of a black person is stronger than anyone on the planet Earth. You can admit that part. So my question for me to you, is it only just physical? So we just physically superior, but have no mental capacity. We physically gifted, but we the lowest of low in terms of IQ. This is what you were saying to us. This is what it is. It's only just that one side. So, and if I mentioned previously, if civilization came through the black race, if everything started in Africa on the African continent, and the African continent was black originally. So, and if you came through us, you still have a higher IQ than us? Let's go with logic. And I repeat this again, nice and slow, just in case you didn't catch it. So if you can admit our physical features and well-being is more superior than white people and all other races, and you, white people and other races, came through the black lineage, because from the black lineage, that's how other races started. But you came from us, but you have a higher IQ than us. I'm letting you sit on that one. Is that logical? Now, the only thing you probably will want to fight with me, oh, you know, civilization didn't come from Africa. Look at the bones, look at the history, everything. You can't deny that. Do your research, you'll find out. It's the obvious in many different ways. Science and math shows this and proves this every day, but they don't want to admit to it because the people that's doing the research are white. And if they admit to that, then it would debunk all of this information on high IQ, this and that. And no, because people, systematic white supremacy overlooks what they do, the atrocities they have done and still do to this day, and how they still dumb down society, black society, and give these talking points like we the worst of the worst and they the best of the best. And if you are so great, if your IQ is such white people on a higher level than black people, such, you know, you're just so smart, you're so great, you are better than us in every way, we just know how to dance and sing. If you are so great, so you know what? Let's go with this. Why is it you still want to be around us? Because if common sense, let's use some common sense here. If your high IQ is so superior than black people, why you still want to be around and procreate and hang out and be like people with low IQ? And don't tell me because you like the rhythm, the dancing, the singing. Forget that. If I have a higher IQ, this is logically speaking, than another person. Why would and I'm disgusted by them? Why would I want to hang with them if I'm so disgusted with them? Why is it you making trips constantly to go on the African continent, not only to rape and pillage the minerals that is there, but you want to procreate with the man and woman out there. You want to hang out with them. You want to get all the information. You want to be like them. Why would you want to be like a person with a low IQ? If black Americans have such a low IQ in North America, let's keep it all 100. We are the scum of the earth. What you help us to help you? And what do I mean? What you give the black, make a contract written up, give us our reparation, because again, we are slave labor. Just like you made the deals with the Asians and other sub-races and you gave them reparations, what's so different about black people having reparations? And you black people that disagree, fall back, because let me tell you something. If you deserve something and your rights wasn't impeded by another race, you're entitled to reparation. Don't worry about what I'm going to do with my money. Oh, you're going to do it and trick it off on some Jordans. You don't need to worry about that. If it's deserved, it's deserved. Look, if the United States can give billions of dollars to Ukraine, but billions for the cause of the people of Ukraine, but you can't give a nickel of reparation to us, black Americans? That sounds even retarded. Canada, US, and they could give millions and millions of dollars. Billions of dollars. But you can't give reparations on the indigenous people / black Americans. And when I talk about both countries, it goes both ways too. Because by law, this is the native land. North America. So if the black man is so backwards and you so disgusted, give him back his land, you go back to your land, and since you have such high IQ, you can easily advance your European nations because you have high IQ. You are so special. You are superior than the black race, and the black race, you are detested and appalled and you disgusted with us. Go back to Europe. You have high IQ, so you can keep building that. The land in North America could go back to the black Americans / natives, because again, black Americans are entitled to the land as well as the natives as well, because the original natives were black Americans, dark skinned. But genetically, native brethren have a certain entitlement too. Not the 5-cent wannabe natives. Because there's a lot of nickel type so-called natives that is white and they just marry a native woman or native man and they native. You know, they all of a sudden marching and chanting crap. But let's keep it 100. Everybody go back to their own community, their own land, because black people, you are disgusted by black people. You don't want to interracial dating. I'm talking about for the white supremacists here. And I'm going to get to that in a moment. You don't want to deal with you disgusted by them. We the lowest of low. We savages. But guess what? You feel you're entitled. You can still remain on the land that's not yours, and then still rob and pillage indirectly and indirectly, and use the black culture and the black way of life, and still have your talking points like we still savages, but you still profit from us. You still building from us. Black people all over the world. You still doing it, but yet and still you saying you have higher IQ. If you have such a high IQ, you should be able to make it anywhere. You shouldn't have to bother us. You shouldn't have to be racially profiling us. You should be able to make it on your own and do whatever you want and not even have to talk to us. Or go back to Europe and keep building your nation. But no, what you want to do is dominate every inch of land and every inch of property because you are the savages, you systematic white supremacists. And you so egotistical and evil, you feel you are great and you are entitled to the dominance of all over the world. And your evilness, you want to put down the black community indirectly and directly so you can maintain your power of systematic white supremacy. I know you. I know you. We're not talking about individual white people, so don't trip. We're talking about the system here. See, this is what it is. This is the game. See, I talked about this in a previous show. Racism is the reality. When you black folks, especially you black Americans particularly, but again, the 12 tribes of black people have that understanding too. I'm including you as well. Until you start having an understanding of what this game is about, and you don't complain about it. Yes, you complain, you frustrated, but you carry on because you know you're not in the proper playing field. You're not in the proper playing field, so you know you're the underdog. You here in North America. And let me tell you about black people. See, let me tell you something in terms of integration and separation, because you have a lot of white supremacists talk about integration and separation, and they want to marry their own, and it should be their own. I have no problem with that. Let me tell you something. When black people had their own communities, leading all the way up to the 60s, let me tell you something. Malcolm X mentioned this too. While civil rights to integration with black people and white people in terms of schools and stuff, actually, in my opinion, that was one of the worst things. Not the greatest things. I know the concept is basically so we can have like equal share of learning and going to the universities and stuff, because our educational system wasn't as advanced. But when black people developed their own universities and colleges, it was more strength. It was more being more family oriented. It was more of a better structure when black people when it was separation. Black people had to do for self a lot more. And we developed our own communities a lot faster and became successful. We had a strong family foundation. We was building higher learners, professionals. Our children had structure. Our wives had structure. Our men had structure when we were separated. But as soon as we became integrated, it all went down to hell. This is why you find black people now don't know if they're coming and going, because they systematic white supremacy allowed that integration, but yet and still implemented certain things to separate black man and black woman, aka the welfare system, aka social media. The black woman don't need the black man. Always put that out there in TV commercials and TV shows and movies. She's strong, she's Wonder Woman, and she could defeat the black man and so forth. And also they put this pride, homosexuality, transgender movement. The flags is all over the place. So that pushes away black families more because the black woman could have an option. She has an option. I don't need to deal with a man. I could deal with a woman or a trans person or my plastic. More division. And then they push the narrative for black men to be weak. Systematic white supremacy. It shows in commercials, TV commercials, car commercials, you name it. The black woman is talking and the black man is just acting like a fool. This is every day, all day on TV. This is not a lie. This is put out there. This is an agenda. Systematic white supremacy. Your white supremacists they're not going to admit that. They're always going to say this is just fantasy. But you black people need to understand. You're not going to try. You can't change this system, this white supremacist. He's the devil, the white supremacist. He always going to be your adversary. This is the game. It's not about changing him. He is your adversary. Point blank, period. And I'm not talking about you individual white people, so don't get soft on me and sensitive. It's a system. This is what it is. This is what it is. This is what it freaking is. This is a reality that is here. See, so this is the playing field you have to understand. This is the playing field. When you know the playing field, you know how to maneuver. You're not the home team, you're the away team. When you walk outside, you are labeled, booed. Not literally, but in a matter of speaking. You rated as a savage black man. And they rate your woman over you, black man. And they conditioned the systematic white supremacists systematically destroyed mentally your environment. Now they going to tell you, what you mean, Mr. Greatness? What you mean? I don't believe that. And then they tell other black folks that have the same white talking points, and they get on TV. You looking at your own people telling you that white talking points. You can get up from your own. You just lazy. You need to do this. You need to do that. It's easy. And for these black folks that having these talking points, they are not trying to do anything to help the black community. Let's call that out. And most of them that talking points, they hang out with white supremacists. That they involve themselves with white supremacists. They bathe and they procreate with white supremacists, and they befriend white supremacists. You could spot them. Or they love white society so much, you can spot them, who they are. Real black men and women. See, in the art of war, you don't have to put a gun to the head of a black man, you go in the black community and wipe them out. You did that. They did that 100, 200, 50 years ago, 60 years ago. It's called the KKK. They don't have to go in your neighborhood. See, they wound us up so much and brainwashed us so much. They don't have to do the physical things no more because they already interjected your mind and poisoned your mind. Black man and black woman. Your mind is already poisoned. So if I poison your mind, I don't have to shoot you with a bullet. You poison my mind, I poison everyone else around me. My wife, my kids, and everyone else around me. That's systematic white supremacy. And you black folks, you got to know the only way to fight that is these little talking points when they come at you saying, using racial ID, or racial IQ, excuse me, that they better than you. And here's the statistics, and they throw in Chicago and South Philly and New York City, and look at the ghettos, and they show black men the degenerate at the worst of worst in these neighborhoods. And then that spreads. And see, well, the statistics show, this is an example. Look at them. They just killing and doing this, and they promote. See, the greatest thing is promotion. Nowadays, they promote all the degeneracy. The systematic white supremacy promotes all the degeneracy nowadays. All the scum of the earth now within the black community is promoted like it's special. Why am I saying that? Look at the black men and women that is promoted and entertained us. They show the scum of the earth, black men and women. The black women that is with purple hair and these fake boobs and breasticles, same thing. Fake buttocks and all of that, being ratchet and the worst of worst. They promote, they'll give them millions of dollars and hold them up in the air for other black young girls to look up and follow. Is that systematic brainwashing by the white supremacists? What do you think? But see, you so dumb, mentally you brainwash, you don't even think that, you don't think nothing of it. That goes, you don't even see that. That's above your pay rate. And they show black men being weak and simple-minded. They're not going to promote like a person like me. You think this podcast here is going to be promoted on a high level? You crazy? You think this show I'm talking is going to be promoted? Matter of fact, it'll be demoted. If anything, they will make sure I will never be that popular. That's why I say it's up to you. They never will, because I'm talking facts. And you might say, well, that's your facts. Well, you know what? Open up your third eye and take a deep look at society and how you really treated black men and black women. Well, you thinking your law degree, is they going to look at you differently? You think you're being a professional, you're going to be looked at differently? You're just an educated savage in their minds. And if that's not true, why would they still talk to you in a degrading way, indirectly or directly, your so-called friends of different races? But you don't peep that because you don't think beyond the scope of life. When you start using your spiritual eye, you see things differently. This is why systematic white supremacy always want to dumb you down, because when you on your A game, you physically fit, mentally fit, spiritually fit, you start to see things differently. And systematic white supremacy, they don't want a black man to be successful. Really? You really want a black man to be on top of his game? You don't, because that means you are a threat. He is actually on your level. He can get your woman. He can get any woman. And it's not about getting your woman also. He just could dominate society. Everywhere he goes, he can handle his own business. That's what I mean by that. It's not about getting your own woman. Because if you really want to be technical, going back to separation and integration, black people was more successful and had better structure being separated. And that's fact. You look at black people in the South, how successful they was. They were not only in Congress, but they was building communities, successful communities, all up in the South. You know, the South Carolina and Mississippi was once the most flourishing states, the whole United States, when black people in the 1800s. And black people was flourishing in those states. But now they are one of the worst, 1 and 2. How'd that happen? Because black people was doing for self. And as soon as black people started reaching high levels, the Klan came in and kicked out black professionals out of the neighborhoods, burned the property, took the property, and forced black people relocate or killed them off. They did that in every black successful community. Facts. Read your history. So you don't think it will go on today? As soon as black people start getting things going on and doing for self, even to this day, we supposed to have so much. We supposed to have low IQ. As soon as black Americans, black people in general, start doing for self and becoming successful, new laws change. Because they don't understand how we could, with all the limitations, we still be successful doing things. Productive things. Not illegal, doing productive things and being successful. Soon as black people be successful, they change the rules. They change laws. When we start to trade among each other, higher taxes. Or now it becomes illegal to sell certain things, certain goods. They always move the goalposts. Black people sell clothes and then become successful. They put stipulations, copyright infringements. They always move the goalposts. If you make a certain amount of money, you got to pay taxes off of that money. Moving the goalposts. As soon as black folks find a way. That's how it is in this day and time. But one of your downfalls, black people, this is why white people can throw this racial IQ. It takes a smart man to be creative. But like I mentioned, as soon as you be creative, they knock you backwards. Implementing new laws, like I mentioned. This is the game. So it's easy for white supremacists and other races, and including sucker black folks. I even will call them race traders. Because I don't have respect for you. You, if anything, should know how you be profiled, but you're so brainwashed, you might as well be a white person. You might as well be a white supremacist. We don't need you. You're a race trader. I'm going to say that. We don't need you. You'd be better off being a white person. I will have more respect for a white person than you. And this is nothing racial about it, but I'm talking to black folks that have the talking points because of a white supremacist. Because guess what? Everybody sticks to their own. And I have no problem with that. Now, here's the caveat. You know, you respect other races. It's no, you should do that. That's just what it is out here. You show respect. But I don't expect an Asian person to. They're gonna look after their own. Fine, you look after your own first, your own family. I get that. I got no problem with that. But when you black people want to talk the same talking points as a white supremacist, I got no love for you. You're a race traitor. And I'll treat you like a white supremacist. Matter of fact, I'll treat the white supremacist better than you in a lot of cases. Because you is in blackface. You just a black person. They used to say in the South, or even to now, Oreo cookie. Black on the outside, and white on the inside. And you have a lot of Oreo cookies out here. Yeah, we getting heavy today. This is my perspective. This is what I see. This is my opinion. I put that out there. But this is what I see in society. Fact. So racial IQ. When the educational system is already been created by white America, the school system, the locations is systematically put, the quality of teachers, the quality of education. Let me tell you something. If you still have the same talking points in not only college, but in your schools, in the hood, that Columbus still discovered America, and it's still being taught to this day, you're a goddamn liar. The education is flawed. And if you was about, let's say, education and helping the community, let's be truthful. Let's elevate the mindsets of the black people in the community through the educational system, showing that there was black inventors. There wasn't only Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King. Okay, we know about Malcolm X, but Martin Luther King. He teach peace, peace, peace. Let's love everybody. And that's what taught in schools. You're a liar. You're a deceiver. The school systems, especially in the hood, is flawed to the T. It's that basic. They don't even teach the kids anything. Now you're going to say because they don't want to learn and stuff, you already wound them up and made them degenerates, a lot of them. So the school system is trash. So you don't have to do anything anymore because you already implemented systematic white supremacy, already implemented the system and made it a degenerate environment, which is nothing more than one big daycare. So nobody learned anything now. You just there until from 9 to 3 and then that's it. Just one big daycare. In your suburbs and your white neighborhoods is a different learning. I lived and I traveled all over this United States and lived quite a few places. I lived in suburbs. I lived all different places. I know fact. I've been into many different countries. Fact. So I've seen things. I'm confident that I could give a great perspective on systematic white supremacy and the difference among their community versus the black community, my community. But this is not talked about. white supremacists just put out there that our brains is different and we are inferior and that's it. And we are the worst of worst. That's really what you said, but I'm going to say it again. If we are the worst of worst, why you are around us? Why you still want to be around us? Why you can't get enough for hanging with us? You can't get enough of wanting to listen to what we have to say. You nosy. You white supremacists are nosy. You want to listen to me now. You listening to me now. You nosy. Because you are the devil that the Bible speaks of. You white supremacists. Because you want to know what moves you can make. How can I get him? What's his talking points? What's his weak points? So I can debate and maneuver. This is how these white supremacists roll. And for you liberal white people, this is not for you. I know you're gonna tell me I don't have no racial thing in my body. I love all people. I love him. I got a black friend. I know all of that. I get it. No problem. I'm omitting you to the side. So just follow it. It's not talking about you. Not talking about you. Okay? So don't get sensitive. We're talking about your brethren collectively. This is what it is. This is what it is with society. These are the moves that we have to make as a community. We got to know what it is, the playing field. You can't argue and I can agree with this one thing a little bit. No, we can't be lazy. We got to be more productive. And even teach our degenerates to be more productive. And tell our community that don't look up to degeneracy. Seen on TV how our men and women is acting. The low-level behavior. This is not who should we be looking up to. And that's the hardest thing because the style of dress, the way it's put out here, it's hard to maneuver. Because if you just see trash all day and you're a young person, that goes in your brain. See, I'm a person of a certain age. I've been there, done that, so they can't make me maneuver. They can't change me. But they can change you. Because you still young, you still up and coming, you impressionable. So if they can catch you at a young age as a boy wearing a dress and holding a pride flag, now it changes your mind. That it's okay to wear a dress. It's okay to sashay all over the place. It's okay. And it tells you, and I'm going to talk about that topic soon. Very soon. So stay tuned. I'm going to get heavier than that I was before. But again, this is the system. Racial IQ. So, what say you? Something for you to think about. Like, subscribe, and share to the Greatness 19 channel, Mr. Evolution of London. And also like, subscribe to podcast here, the Oracle 19 podcast. Hopefully this was informative. I know it was for many of you. And pass it to people worldwide, family, friends, and foe. This is necessary. Because white supremacy want to always dumb down black society. We the worst of worst. We the scum of the earth. There's no... you can't help us. We just degenerates by nature. And again, finding it funny from the past leading to now, how we can reach at a low level so fast, and we created everything around this stinking planet Earth. So this is just for something for you to know. Hopefully, hey, I'm not here to try to change your minds, just giving a perspective at the end of the day. If you happen to change your mind, cool. But if you thinking I'm just some type of jerk, don't know what I'm talking about, and, you know, I'm not even talking from a hate point of view. Just talking, giving a perspective of what's out here, what I see, what's in front of me. Facts. So until the next time, thank you for listening.